Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Taylor Jones. And do you have any idea what time it is? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Taylor Jones, and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel, TC Jones Edits. And right now, what I'm about to do is a brand new episode of Cold Man's Winter. And for those that didn't watch my last episode, don't worry, the link will be in the description bar down below. But anyway, for those that's wondering, why are you rocking the Boston Celtics gear? Oh, this thing right here and this? Well, it's based on the fact that it's officially St. Patrick's Day. And for those that don't believe in St. Patrick's Day or celebrate it, I just want to say happy St. Patrick's Day to all. And also, for those that's not aware, if you don't wear green, you're going to get pinched, and I don't want to do that. But anyway, let me get back to Cold Man's Winter. For right now, if I'm going to talk about something brand new, what do I want to talk about? Oh, I know. I want to discuss what's life like with a wake-up call. Now, when it comes to a wake-up call, you got to realize that a lot of people are struggling day after day, and they don't want to admit, as High Five once said on the song, she's playing hard to get. She's playing hard to get. She just won't admit that she likes me. A lot of people don't want to admit to everything. They don't want to admit to their faults. They don't want to admit to their responsibilities. They don't want to live up to it. And they don't want to admit, they don't want to live up to the fact that God is watching their every movement, because we have a lot of people that's in a different religious cycle. Some believe in Jesus, some believe in Allah, but people like me come into making dollars. That's a DJ Quick reference from the 1995 song Safe and Sound. But for wake-up calls, some people will take that in a hard way. I take things in the hardest way when it comes to wake-up calls. And with wake-up calls, I believe that the main reason why we don't accept them is because we have been told too many times, we're like, shut up, shut up. But sometimes we have to be quiet ourselves and just think. Some people want to leave the town, like leave their family and friends behind because they feel like they're so guilty. Made me think of that SpongeBob episode when he joined the jellyfish nature pants, but instead he realized at the very end, after being stung a few times and looked upon like an ordinary human being, but he was a sponge, the jellyfish is like, you don't belong here. And after being poisoned by the sea urchins, make him itch, SpongeBob walks back to Bikini Bottom naked, not a police officer to be seen. He's filled up with tears, walked past his friend's house, and before he opens the door of his pineapple home, he was like, what have I done? I had a life, a job, and friends, and I gave all that up. But that's not the only time SpongeBob left town. He also left town after being called an idiot boy from the episode Who Bob What Pants, to the fact he don't even know who he is anymore. I mean, a lot of people, they have their ways, they have their triggers, they have their targets. But sometimes the trigger can be aimed at you. You're your very own target, your worst enemy. You are your own enemy. And when it came to a guy named Jerome Bonneville, well, let's just say that he always get uptight. And just like every other individual who has been looked upon and then later on avoided, like slept on, as in underground. There's nothing wrong with the underground, but sometimes underground is better than being mainstream. That's according to some hip-hop artists. And being looked upon and then forgot about because they feel like you a weak one, you got a weak side, you too annoying, blah 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 blah. And Jerome, he had to deal with this on a daily basis in a city called Mayonnaise, Kentucky. Jerome Bonneville was 26 years old, and throughout his life was like a roller coaster, up at first and down, up and down, up and down, to the fact that his own family, well, his father, he was a jerk. His father was a jerk, drunk all the time. He like a thug. He's trying to act like Nino Brown of New Jack City. When Jerome tried to explain, like, based on the little actions, like he always get blamed for something that he didn't do because he's the son, and he knew that in the Bible, children, obey your parents in the law of the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy mother and father, because he knew that if he stepped out of line in front of his father, man, Jerome's father's gonna go off on him. If I was what? Say it again. If I was what? Nothing. Yeah, that's what I thought you said, because that's what I got now. Nothing. So, every now and then, even for no apparent reason, Jerome's father go off on him. Just because remember, he was drunk. If his mother was here, he would be like, look, that is enough. But instead, it didn't work that way. It didn't happen. I mean, Jerome's mother, she was petrified, but at the same time, she was not going to let that Chicago Bull slide. I mean, she should have thought of bringing Jerome with her, but instead, it was that fateful day. Now, Jerome's mama left Mayonnaise to hang out with her girlfriends, try to like have a day out. No. A week out, away from her drug abusing, alcohol, binge drinking father figure who wanted to be a thug so bad that she actually decided to take a little trip to Paducah. They went to Paducah to go shopping. Jerome's mother and her girlfriends went shopping in Paducah, and they were making their way to, let's say they went to Illinois, because that's where they always have like a time of their lives. Like they do it year after year. But then again, for Jerome's mother's girlfriends, they actually traveled more than Illinois. They actually went to Massachusetts, they went to Hawaii, they went to Texas, they went to Alaska. They were making sure that they can have a picture of all of them going to every state, U.S. state, even attend to go to Cuba, which they plan to do it the year after going to Illinois. So let's just say that it didn't go their way, because while they were heading to Illinois, a thunderstorm actually knocked one of the airplane wings off. And that causes a lot of individuals to panic, to the fact that, well, there were 115 individuals on the plane, a long plane. And they ended up, like the results, 17 survivors. The rest were dead, and that included Jerome's mother. While they were taking a trip to Chicago, instead of taking a train or a bus, which Jerome actually mentioned that it's best to travel on foot on the roads than to fly, because sometimes you never know how turbulences and weather conditionings can hold out. But it was a bad thunderstorm too. And after hearing the news, watching the news, Jerome was like, "Oh my gosh, no, Mama!" He went to his room. He just closed the door, back against the door, and just like crouched down, like you see in music videos when somebody they start to go down, like they squat down, like they're sitting down. Back against the door now. They were hurt. I mean, he was hurt. Breaking tears while his father just cursed up a storm. Heck, he even threw a couple beer bottles to the wall. That's how amped up he was after hearing about the woman's death from a plane accident. And the 17 survivors. Some were bruised, injured. Some were considered in critical condition, but they survived. They pulled through by the grace of God. Some of them prayed when the airplane was in the air, but it was too late for the rest. And the girlfriends, they died along with Jerome's mom. But in school, everybody looked upon Jerome first. I mean, some of them gave him compassion, like sympathy. The others like, man, screw him. He ain't even thug enough. Like, there was a whole lot of guys that want to be thugs, starting to be cool, and even the girls that dressed up like hood rats and act sassy on a daily basis. A lot of people couldn't stand Jerome. Jerome was smart, but all he hear is, "Man, shut the heck up." Yeah, even when he tried to run for, in high school, he ran for president, and this crap happened. But Jerome, it actually happened like his mother. He lost his mother at 16 years old. And now, 10 years later, after dealing with a lot of BS, even in college, people can't stand him being a bookworm, like he's sold out, like he ain't black enough, he ain't cool, he ain't thug, he's just a weakling. And his father, he's like, man, he even convinced his father that he's going to college. They're like, no, funk that, F-U-N-K, that. You gonna go to the army. I don't want to go. Don't you dare smoke and backsass me. I'ma F you up. Like, mess you up, like, kick his butt. But in God's eyes, that's not what Jerome's father would do. It's like a lot of people, every now and then, he tried to make something better of himself. Jerome did. Through his high school years, after losing his mother, to college, and even all the haters started to dislike his credit when he made his own YouTube page and keep it real. But what was his YouTube name? Jerome Bonneville. J Bond. But some people thought that his content was straight boring. Like he was being political all the time. He was trying to be serious, too emotional, blah, 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 blah. That they decided to focus on the cool kids. But there was one YouTuber, after realizing that all of his YouTube content was avoided, disliked a lot, and negative comments. Even his father, Jerome's father, had some nerve to tell him into his face, man, you gotta screw that YouTube stuff. Nobody gives a dang about the truth. They give a dang about big deals like cars, money, women, breasts, boobs, butt, whatever. You ain't got nothing of that. Heck, next thing you know, God is dead. Oh yeah, Dad? If that's the case, well, God is dead to you. You don't even put him in. Hey, I'm gonna kill you right now if you say that ever again. Like, Jerome's father was still drunk. He was still abusive. He wanted to kick Jerome's butt so bad. And even the haters claim that he ain't man enough because he ain't man enough to stand up against his father. He ain't gonna punch him or kick him in the nads or and the lady's like, ugh, nigga, no. Man, he ain't even left his parents. Well, he only got one. So, he's such a chicken. And every now and then it's kind of like he's been told, shut up all over the town. Shut up, F you, sell out this, chicken that, you know. And the cool kids, they were actually having better subscriptions. They have 50,000 subscribers, all the cool kids. But back to it, after being humiliated with the YouTube, he feel like he want to give up YouTube because nobody gives a dang about him. Well, all of a sudden, there's actually one person that subscribed to him, and her name was Janine Willis. She was the same age as Jerome J-Bond. But on YouTube, she called herself Ann O. Ying. As in Annabelle O. As in Olivia Ying. Now, first off, why did she come up with like a name that sounded a little bit racist? Well, it's also a double entendre because her YouTube name was actually a way to break down the word annoying. She was looked upon as annoying. So he checked out, she actually respected everything that Jerome was saying. But for Jerome to check out Janine's YouTube page based on the like-dislike ratio, she got a lot of dislikes, which made the so-called balance thing that you see in the court like completely unbalanced. A lot of hate, a lot of thumbs down, a lot of negative slurs. How your name Ann O. Ying when you're black? Okay. And like, hey, no, don't be like that. But then again, be like that because her name stands for annoying. It's all about the cool kids. So Janine actually got a subscriber, and that was Jerome. And they actually met up in they did a collaboration on YouTube. It's kind of like they did Zoom together, and it made perfect sense. But every now and then, Jerome watched 5 of her videos a day. 5 videos. That way until she caught up. And Janine, she actually watched 10, especially on the weekends, because she's binge watching. She ain't got nothing to do. She ain't got to work on the weekends. She works an ordinary 9-to-5 job from Monday through Friday. And what she loved about that is that she don't have to deal with Black Friday nonsense. She's like working on a daily basis, but when it's holiday season, she's free on any holiday you can think of. But for Halloween, it's different. Every Halloween she dresses up. One year she dressed up like Escape. Another year she dressed up like SWV. But if I have to explain in clear details, she dressed up like Escape from the Just Kicking It music video, the original, back when they were in the corner, in the street corner, dressed in black, black vest, black shirt, black pants, bandana, hoop earrings that are thick. They're kind of like door handles, but they're round. And combat booties. But then 1 year later, she dressed up like SWV from the Right Here Human Nature video. She had a bob hairstyle. Hoop earrings were a little slim, like a little thinner. A white shirt, long sleeve. A Daisy Dukes, like a skirt, because she didn't want to show all her butt. A Daisy Duke skirt. Combat booties, and she rocked sunglasses. So she dressed up a whole lot like Taj when they were fishing and riding a horse, that. And she had the sunglasses, yeah. So she enjoyed dressing up for Halloween. Meanwhile, they actually got along not only on YouTube, they actually had good conversations on Facebook. And they started to get to know each other very well. To the fact that if they ever met, they might have exchanged digits, but that was not the time. So after 10 years of hardships, Jerome, even though he's still dealing with hardships, he decided to keep going, keep his life going. And when he got on YouTube, he started to change up his image. Well, then again, change up the way he makes his videos. Although he started to get to the real nitty-gritty, like the street cred, but still, he knows with God, he has to do the right thing and be his true persona. So yes, he actually made one video that actually turned a whole lot of people's mindsets around. And he said, "Message to the haters," as if he's gonna diss them. He actually made a song. He actually had a video of when he responded to all the haters that disliked his credit and praised the cool kids, like they praised them as if they were gods. And he freestyled a diss track in an underground tune. Well, Lords of the Underground tune. He rapped so hard on the song Chief Rocker, and the song was called Message to the Haters. And it actually had 10,000 views by the end of 1 week. And all the little kids looked up to Jerome J. Bond. And some of the comments are like, J. Bond, J. Bond, J. Bond. Cheering. Like there's something that can help all the individuals who have been bullied and peed off over nothing and abused by friends and families and the so-called justice system. Racism was still in effect. He talked about that. He talked about it in he talked about racism in verse 1. He talked about all the cool kids in the third and final verse. But the second verse, he actually went off on all the individuals who were drunk, including his own father. He dissed his own father. His father heard the diss track, and then bam, out of the blue, Jerome's father really had enough. To the fact that he had to buy a gun. He brought a Smith & Wesson. He really wanted to kill Jerome and live his life on his own. But he was drunk. He was high. He started smoking weed since he was 16 years old. But the father, he kicked that habit, but he started drinking beer. 40 ounces. The gangster stuff. So after coming home and feeling so blessed, he saw his room getting cleared out. Jerome actually was getting kicked out of his house. And yes, they had an argument. And Jerome admitted, I admit it, I dissed you, but you've been talking out the side of your neck for so long, you ain't even trying to put it in the work. You want to be a thug so much. No wonder I wish Mom was here still. 10 years, Daddy. And this is the thanks I get. And all of a sudden, he was like, you know what? Kill that noise. And he and Jerome and his father actually got into a fist fight. He actually, first off, he took out the gun and threw it on the couch. Luckily, it didn't hit anything because the gun didn't go off. But so after getting a couple licks from his father, Jerome fought back. He finally punched him in the face, kicked him in the nads, and stomped on his feet. He was like Q fighting against Bishop because Bishop got away with murder. And in the end of the fight, Bishop was knocked off the ledge, but Q had to try to save him. But Butterfingers, and on the original script, Bishop heard the sirens and he said, "I don't want to go to jail," and then he just committed suicide. But in the movie version that we all know, hold on, man. I can't hold on, man. And then Butterfingers. Bishop screams and falls to his death. But for Jerome Bonneville against his father, Jerome actually took the gun, emptied the clips, pour all the bullets on his father, and then knocked him out with a kick to the face. And while his father was knocked out, after Jerome finally kicked the crap out of his father for being abusive and a drunk, he emptied all of the beer bottles, replaced them with water. And then, due to the fact that he was getting kicked out of his own house after dissing his father based on the issues, even the cool kids wanted to spot Jerome's next move. Jerome was tired of that crap. 10 years from high school to college to living a life on his own as a grown man, to being ridiculed for not being man enough, like not being black enough to stand up to his father, which he finally did. The father figure, well, he got knocked the heck out. And then Jerome, he started to find not a hotel, but an apartment. But then again, he found an old abandoned building, a house that has never been chosen yet. And he found the house to be so perfect because it was like big. But it's kind of like he goes upstairs, his bedroom is upstairs, and there's a window to see what's going on out in his yard, his front yard. He got enough room to chill on the porch. Heck, he even threw a party at his own house. After living for 16 months, now Jerome is now 27. He actually invited some individuals, like he actually had some kids who watched his music video on YouTube that helped him grow his YouTube subscriptions. He started to get popular and try to tell it like it is. I mean, he was telling the truth. He's doing God a favor, but that wasn't enough. Because one day when he threw a house party, the first house party he threw at his own house, a lot of people were having a good time, and then they were all drinking Kool-Aid, like Kool-Aid, soda, and they were bumping his YouTube song, Dear Haters. To the fact that somebody came to his party unannounced. And who was it? Let's just say it was his own father. He wanted to get revenge for getting his butt kicked by his own son. And Jerome, he was like, I don't want to fight you. That's right. I see you, because you're not in the house anymore. But too bad you ain't gonna be here for long. What are you talking about? And he grabs him, yanks him out. Oh, and everybody trying to say, hey, let him go, fool. Let him go, fool. Man, shut the heck up. Hey, back up. He pulls the gun out, shut up the crowd, and then he opens the door, throws Jerome out, off the porch. He's rolling down the porch stairs. Party's over, double crosser. And then he locks the door, and he shots some rounds inside the house. That everybody couldn't escape because he locked the door. It's like he was taken hostage, held hostage. Even the cool kids laughed at him. Huh? You should have run your motherfucking mouth. See, talking out the side of the neck. It's kind of like, wow, that's just messed up. But when does the wake-up call ever happen? The first wake-up call is when he got kicked out of his house. He fought back. But the wake-up call before that is that he had to change his YouTube videos. And he actually did his deceased mother a favor. And he put his father on blast, but his father couldn't let go yet. But he was still drinking. He brought some more beer. To the fact that after he got up, Jerome got up, locked me out of my own house, huh? Okay. It's on now. So he decided to call the police. There was one guy who actually spotted the whole thing. While the cool kids were smirking and laughing and insulting him, Jerome was not going to let that slide. He called the police and put his father in check once again, but this time he was arrested. Jerome's father was arrested for being a party pooper, to shooting rounds at his house, Jerome's house. And next thing you know, very next day, things got bad to worse. More cool kids hating on Jerome. Not just on YouTube, but in real life. They got personal. And they beat the crap out of Jerome. It's like beating him to a pulp, but he was eligible to survive with bloody nose and his stomach was sore after the blows, and like getting stomped on his legs to getting kicked in the butt. It's like, man, heck, one of them even tried to rob him. But instead, he's like, you know what, screw that. I ain't gonna take his money. I ain't gonna do that. Let that nigga rest in pain. Yeah. The fact that all of a sudden he decided to give up. Jerome decided to give up his own life. Not suicidal related. But it's like, you know what? It's too much. And that's when, 5 weeks later, Jerome J. Bonneville, 27 years old, still looked upon as a fool. But now it's 11 years later. I mean, he was hurt. He wanted to leave mayonnaise behind, move out. Probably move out to another state. One state he had on his mind was, let's say he wanted to move to, let's say he wanted to move to Boston, Massachusetts, but Ann O. Ying would not let that slide. Ann O. Ying, Janine Willis, she actually spotted him. And I figured Jerome took it too serious, like, I know, shut the heck up. Stop rubbing it in, please. Shut up? No, more like, you gotta give it up. Give it up. As in, Give It Up Baby, Tracy Lee, 1997. But give up what? Give up what, Janine? Give up what? Well, I spotted your every movement. And to Jerome's surprise, J. Bond finally meets Ann O. Ying in person. It's been a while since we last talked. Janine? No way. Yeah. But first he called her by her YouTube name. Please, that's my YouTube name. My true name is Janine Willis. My real name is Jerome Bonneville. And they met up. They finally talked about it, and they even had an idea to get along more often. Like every Friday night, they always meet up. Every Sunday, they go to church together. And they also did YouTube collaborations, J. Bond and Ann O. Ying. And it actually helped their YouTube increase. And the cool kids, their YouTube started to decrease based on their lack of respect for Jerome. And the hood rats, the lack of respect for Janine. That after dating for, let's say they started dating, Jerome and Janine started dating each other. They decided to stay sober. They decided to stay abstinent from having sex because it's not time yet. But after throwing another house party, more party poopers came in, but this time it's a whole crew. The warriors all over again. The hood rats and the cool kids. They're going to start talking down on both Ann O. Ying and J. Bond. And all the kids, the teenagers, were tired of it. Even the college students were tired of it. They were tired of the bull crap that went down. You know what? I don't need this crap. I'm getting out of here. No, Jerome, not yet. If you go, I go. But for right now, it's best to stay. It's time we give our YouTube haters a lesson. And one of the college students from Mayonnaise is like, yeah, let's do this. I'm ready to get all them haters out of here myself. And not to mention, it's all Jerome's father's doing. But he was still in jail. He had to serve 36 months, 3 years, until he get his act together. Even when it means to go to anger management, to control his anger, and also a rehabilitation program to stop him from drinking beer. He's abusing alcohol. But at the end of the day, since the guy who went to college, a resident from Mayonnaise, Kentucky, he actually, when he started to do this, It's kind of like he got Jerome and Janine's back. And even the teenagers stood by his side. All the college kids, all the teenagers, they knew enough was enough. So all the hood rats and the cool kids whose YouTube pages were declined or like subscriptions were dropped and like everybody unsubscribed to them and they praised on the positivity and O Ying and J Bond together since they started working together. It gave them a brighter future, a brighter look. And with God on their mind, on Jerome and Janine's mind, they decided to follow their footsteps. To the fact that one person, one teenager had to play an oldie but goodie. Nah, 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 hey, 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 goodbye, bye, hater. Actually, Jerome actually made Message Dear Haters Part 2 with Janine on her side. This time they used another instrumental from Lords of the Underground, referring to What I'm After. And the beat was playing so well, so smooth that, you know what, one of the hood rats, they recognized that instrumental because their parents were hooked to Lords of the Underground. They were so funky, they were funky with it. They just like, you know what, screw this hating, I'm going to party with you guys. And the cool kids, one of the cool kids like, I need to get her number. Like he's trying to get his Mac on and like have a good time. But the other hood rats and cool kids that were against this, they're like, you know what, screw y'all. We out of here. And like, that's exactly what happened. They like, Jerome, Janine, the cool kid that decided to follow the hood rat and said something like, you know what, we've been hating these guys for so long. We need to give them a break. We need some real friends. We need to overcome our actions. Not to mention, things changed. After the party went completely good, a lot of people decided to change their ways. One of the hood rats decided to take Jerome's father's house. After kicking out Jerome, she now owns the house. And now his father is in clear shape, a clear state of mind that he wanted to call his son. With tears falling down like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been a jerk to you. I guess I was too caught up in the system, caught up in the mindset of being a thug, being cool. That despite Jerome didn't want to talk to him, he had the right to forgive him. That's what Jesus would do. Forgive those. Have a different mindset. And Janine, she actually decided to change her YouTube name to, well, let's just say she changed her YouTube name to Janine, JWB, Janine Willis Dash Bonneville. As a surprise, as in, wait, you're not thinking what I'm thinking. You're saying, yes, Jerome, I want to marry you. What? But I ain't got a ring. It doesn't matter. I'm ready. So Janine and Jerome made it known that they got married. They get married. They get married in the church. They do the right thing. Because they are the only ones that can see things eye to eye. They've been hurt the same way. They have been looked upon as fools. Because she even admitted that her parents didn't like her. they regretted her being born, to the fact that they should have aborted her. But they were so young and dumb, but all of a sudden things changed. Because she had to realize through a wake-up call that the only way to get your parents in return is to leave them. They don't love you, you move on. But you still have to forgive them. And it took a long time for Jerome to get his wake-up call in order. He finally got a couple wake-up calls taken care of. Through song, through YouTube, and all that. Hold on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back from a phone call. But anyway, as I was saying, Janine and Jerome, they got engaged. She was the one that mentioned she wants to marry him. Like, wait a minute, why are you flipping the tables? So, with all that being said, Jerome and Janine, they actually got married. After dating for a short period of time and getting along very well, they pulled it off. To the fact that the guy who actually started to do this, the college student from Mayonnaise, representing UK, University of Kentucky, but he lives in Mayonnaise. He decided to be his best man, Jerome's best man. And the teenagers, they became the groomsmen. But it was like after school was over for the summer break. And the hood rat, one of the hood rats decided to be a special, like, the best woman. I don't know what they call it. I think one of the bridesmaids. Yeah. And she stood right behind. At the altar, they stood right behind Jerome and Janine. Jerome was in a white tuxedo with red Chuck Taylor shoes. They all wore Chuck Taylors. But for the girls, they wore a red dress. A red dress, as in red enough, like you see the straps, like they have it on their shoulder length, as if they were going to prom or they were in a band like the Supremes. But they didn't wear earrings that too fancy. Let's just say that they were all natural hairstyle, like they let their hair down, no earrings as much, no earrings. And as for Janine, she came to the altar, and Mr. Jerome, he sung along with her. He sung while standing. They sung, what did they sing together? A good song they would sing together. They sung The Rose that was done on Family Guy. Janine sung the first verse. Jerome sung the second. And everybody who was the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, they sung the part of When the Night Seems Too Lonely. Yeah. But Jerome, he sung Just Remember in the Winter. And they ended. Janine and Jerome ended like a sea within the sun's love, and the spring becomes the rose, because it was a perfect way to get everybody together. They said I do, and they were no longer boyfriend and girlfriend, and YouTube collaboration, the tag team of YouTube, because they collaborated with each other in a couple YouTube videos. They actually became the Bonnevilles, and they lived happily ever after. thanks to having a wake-up call, and that they had to find out for a long time. The father got out on parole. Matter of fact, he got out on good behavior because he served 1/2 of his 3 years, 18 months in jail. That's 1.5 year of his sentence done. To the fact that he actually surprised him at the wedding reception. I'm clean, I'm sober. And not to mention, he actually decided to take a clear path ever since Jerome beat the crap out of him and opened up his eyes. Like, you know what? I need to be a better example for my son. And he actually ended up doing a YouTube video along with Jerome and Janine as a special guest. And that video that they made, it ended up with 1 million views. A lot of people subscribe to J Bond, JWB as well. And it led them to have a YouTube plaque for the most viewed video that they've made. It's kind of like winning an Oscar. So for Jerome and Janine to live happily ever after married, it made a big impact for all the ex-hood rats and all the ex-cool kids. And everybody younger than Janine and Jerome surrounding him. Like, they were pleased with what they were up to. To the fact that his father actually decided to write a book about from a fool to a man. It gives him a chance to redeem himself. He started to believe in the Lord again. Started to have a wake-up call on his own, and that's the way it goes. It's never too late to have a wake-up call, ladies and gentlemen. That's all there is to it. With all that being said, thank you for listening to my YouTube topic for another episode of Cold Man's Winter, Season 4. With all that being said, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click the notification bell. And also, remember, the last episode will be in the description bar down below. And not only that, be on the lookout, because spring is coming and the show must come to an end. The season must come to an end, but when, to be determined. Also, this episode of Cold Man's Winter, this St. Patrick's Day episode, has been brought to you by Sweet Lady of the Week. When a woman, a female, needs to have recognition. For this episode, I will give it personally to none other than, who can I give it to? Oh, I know. Wait a minute. I was at a loss of words because I was trying to remember if I called him out, but I guess I didn't. So this episode goes to Jacqueline and Jocelyn Walker, the Walker twins. And to Jackie and Jocelyn, if you're watching this, I never forgot about you. With all that being said, this is yours truly, Taylor Jones, signing out. And have yourself a Boston Celtic. Nah, I'm playing. Shout out to the Boston Celtics as well. But what I'm really saying is, have yourself a happy, safe St. Patrick's Day.